Hey Disney Cruisers, and welcome back to the DCL community where we are here to help you plan, prepare for, and get excited for your Disney cruise. You guys know me, I'm Rebecca, your host and admin of the DCL community. And today we are doing a deep dive on everything related to allergies when it comes to your Disney cruise and making sure that your family or you or anyone in your travel party are safe when they're sailing and get all their dietary needs and restrictions met. And if you are joining us, please say hello. Let us know where you're watching from so we can say hi. But let's go ahead and dive in. Hunter, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. So, hi guys, I'm Hunter. I have been a travel advisor for 9 years. I'm with Jayco Travel. Um, Planning Disney cruises are my passion. They're my favorite vacations to go on with my family. I've been on 27 cruises. So sorry, my dogs are getting up. I've been on 27 cruises across all five of Disney's ships. I have some children, and so I have a wide range of experience in the Disney Cruise Line community. So I love everything about Disney cruises, from the private island to the characters, the Broadway shows, the crew. It's just the perfect mix of Disney magic and relaxation.
I could not agree more.
So here's just a few ways that you can contact me, plus my social media. We will post this in the comments so that you have access to this presentation and can go back through and contact me. But the best way to contact me is always email hunter@jcotravel.com. Is my email, and it's definitely the fastest way to get a hold of me.
Yes, I was going to say sometimes it feels like Hunter responds to things before I even think about sending them. So definitely send her a note. And just wanted to say hello. We've got North Carolina, Texas, Virginia, California, and New York. So hello to everybody watching. We're excited to dive into this topic. And allergies is one of your specialties, right?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I have a ton of experience on Disney cruises. So I have experience with family travel, allergy travel. My husband has celiac disease, and my son has a tree nut allergy. Accessible travel. My husband has a prosthetic leg, so we do sail in an accessible stateroom to have a little bit more mobility, accessibility. And then also we've sailed concierge on all five of the ships. And I work a lot with Disney Cruise Line brides, and I myself am a Disney Cruise Line bride.
So I cannot wait to see those pictures.
So my special dietary need experience, as I mentioned, my husband has celiac, and my son has a nut allergy. And I've also cruised with people who have different fruit allergies, seafood, shellfish, mushroom, strawberries, dairy. And I've worked with clients who have sunflower allergies, artificial sweetener allergies. And not only do I have allergy experience, but I'm a healthcare professional too. So I know how important it is to you and your family to keep everybody safe and not have this, any allergy reactions that cause like a damper on your trip. So just keeping that in mind and working with you to um, tell you how you need to go about ordering things and notating things is definitely something that I pride myself in when working with clients who have allergies, because it's not as simple as just calling in and saying you have allergies. While you can do that, there's still a process when you're ordering food that's not in the main dining room with those same servers that you have every night.
I was going to say, having somebody like Hunter in your back pocket throughout that process who can prepare you, because like she said, you're not just eating in the main dining room. There are so many other places to eat on board and on the islands. So making sure you're prepared for all those situations and that you're not potentially risking a reaction to something is just so, so important.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about what we're going to go over tonight. So, as we already did the who am I and how to contact me and my experience, we're also going to go through how to request things online, the deadlines to request special dietary needs or just notate your allergies. I put some FAQs in here as well. We're going to go over some like food and drinks that are available for different allergies, and then just kind of wrap up the night.
Yes. And if you guys have any questions as we're going through this, feel free to put those in the comments and we're going to do our best to get to all of them. Hunter is going to address a lot of the ones that you guys sent in earlier today. So if you have any other ones, feel free to put those in the chat, or you can always reach out to Hunter directly to start planning. But let's dive into the first step, this online request.
Yeah, so the first step, you'll go into the Disney Cruise Line website. pull up your reservation, and it might be a little small here, but down at the bottom in the middle, you kind of see there's like a special request box, and you're going to click on that special request as the first step. And Rebecca, if you could go to the next slide. The second step, you're going to click on dietary, what does that say? Dietary preferences. It's small on my screen. Yeah. And then you're going to see a special request button pop up, and you'll click on that little link where it says special request form with that second arrow.
Yes, down there at the bottom.
Yes. And also when you're doing this, you want to make sure, this is the second box down here, that you're toggling on the right guest, or you kind of have to start over. So then you click on dietary preferences, and then you go to the next screen, Rebecca. I'm so sorry.
No, listen, that is okay. Anybody who's a dog owner here has been there and gets it. We love our dogs, but they don't always cooperate when it comes to virtual calls.
So we have 3 dogs, and they're crazy. If you could go back to the last screen for me.
Oh, yeah.
So when you click on that dietary preferences, a box is going to pop up, and you're going to see these allergies listed here in the box on the right. So egg, fish, gluten, wheat, peanut, some common like top 9 type allergies there. If you don't see your allergen there, it does have to be called in, and you can call that in, or, if you're working with me, I'll call that in for you, so you don't have to worry about that. And that's how these allergies get passed on to the ship. And again, you can toggle between the different guests so that you'll save it. And when you save it, you're not going to see it on that main screen that we looked at, just for like your privacy. So when it says like your dietary request has been notated, like just trust that, because it won't show you on that screen, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I just did that. And you'll just keep going in and doing it over and over. So then once you save it, go back to the main screen if you have a second family member with an allergy, and you can start that process over for them. If you don't want to do this, don't worry about it. I'll do it for you. I can do it online, or again, if your allergen is not listed, I'll just call in and notate it.
I was going to say those wait times for Disney can be pretty hefty. So
they really like can, especially when new packages or like new sailing dates and itineraries drop. We've waited or been on the phone, 4 to 8 hours. It's kind of crazy, especially for Silver Castaway members. They're like make up the most of like the Castaway Club, so their wait time is always the longest.
Yeah, it's such a nice perk of working with a travel agent is never having to call Disney. I haven't called Disney in years, and I love Disney. Glad I don't have to call them.
All right, so request deadlines. So they do this food allergies because it's harder for them to get communication to the ship if it's within 3 days. So that's kind of just why the food allergies has a 3 days prior to embarkation. If you're booking last minute, it's fine. They can still get it there. It's just a little bit different process. If you need a kosher diet, they request 5 weeks prior. And you can see that the kosher for Passover meal, just to clarify, is 10 weeks prior. So it is a little bit longer. And this is just so that they can ensure that they have the right provisions on the ship to accommodate any special diet that you need, as well as like, prior to your embarkation, like in between the previous cruise disembarking and you embarking, that they have proper cleaning of the areas, especially for the kosher diets.
Oh, good point.
So there are some deadlines to keep in mind, but again, I'll walk you through that. You don't have to worry about it.
Awesome. And is this something, I know with your clients, you always have an initial consultation. You love getting them on the phone and getting to know them and their families. So is this something that you probably uncover at that point and then just take care of for your clients?
Yeah. So something that I do just a little bit differently than some other travel advisors that you may come in contact with is I really like to get my clients on the phone before we start the process. That allows them to get to know me and me to get to know them. We ask all those questions up front, and usually it's like a 20-minute phone call. It's, not bad. And it saves us the hassle of doing a ton of back and forth emails, because I just find that people are so busy. Like, I'm a busy mom, I have my kids' sports and all those different things that everybody else experiences too, that sometimes emails get missed and they could go days without being answered. And I'm telling you, and Rebecca can vouch for this, 3 days can make the difference of $1,000 price difference, especially when itineraries were just released, kind of
Yeah.
thing. So that's why I like to get my clients just on the phone, and we avoid all of that email back and forth. And I get to know exactly what they want. We can narrow down their dates. We can narrow down the ceiling. We can talk about food allergies, any other preferences they have. And then I have it all in one. And it took us a 20-minute phone call instead of 20 back and forth emails that took us a week and a half. Right. And I just find that it also allows like my clients to see, like, do we have a vibe? Like, do we think we'll be working together well? And I give you the opportunity to talk with me and then hang up off the phone and talk with your spouse or your friend or whatever, and kind of decide, like, do we want to work with her? Because I don't ever want to put anybody on the spot, make them uncomfortable, make them decide to work with me on the phone. Like, I don't ask that of anybody. So I send a follow-up email that has a recap of everything we talked about, all of your wish list items, and your preferences, along with everything that I'm going to do to help you. And then at the end, I just ask that you choose option 1, 2, or 3. So option 1 would be we're going to move forward. Option 2 is we're going to follow up in a couple of weeks. And option 3 is like we've decided not to move forward. That kind of puts the ball in your court and also allows you the autonomy to make that decision without me, you feeling like I'm pressuring you on the phone. And I've gotten a lot of really positive feedback to this. I started it in January, and clients love that initial contact on the phone, because like you really connect and you feel like somebody genuinely cares about your vacation just as they would their own. So that's why I just really love phone consultations, because I'm not a person that likes to talk on the phone, like genuinely. So I know that sounds a little crazy. And I was really hesitant to make this jump because I'm like, if I'm not, if I don't want to talk on the phone, I know others don't either. But clients are just really thankful that we had that 20 to 30 minutes to connect on the phone, and they feel much better about working with me. So it's been positive for me. It's so much better than just a cold fill out this form and I'll get back to you kind of thing. In my opinion, I just enjoy that personal touch. And that's what I've strived to like build my business on, is that white glove service with personal touch. That is the exact way that I would want my vacation treated.
Yeah. And I was going to say, when you guys get Hunter on the phone, you will tell immediately how excited she is to help you plan your vacation. She loves it. When she says that this is her passion, that's not just a line. She lives, breathes, and dies for Disney cruises. And I will, just a reminder here, her planning services are 100% free for you to use. So you're leaving value on the table if you're not reaching out. Just saying.
Yeah, it's totally true. Disney pays us commission, and you can't just take that commission away if you're booking on your own. At the end of the day, Disney's just keeping that extra money, and they're not helping you. They're not giving you one-to-one service. They're not, they don't know your family's names and know your package, like just, within a couple seconds of seeing your name come across their inbox, right? I do. So if you don't work with an advisor, you're just leaving that value on the table, and Disney is just pocketing that extra money that they've already built into their packages.
Yes. Oh,
nobody likes to give away things. Okay.
I was going to say,
you're paying for it.
Money. Yeah.
One way or another, you're paying for it because you can't take it out of their package. Disney automatically builds it in, whether you book online or through an agent.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Just do yourself
a tangent. Let's move on to allergies.
I know. I love it. I love it.
All right. So let's talk about ordering in the main dining room if you have a dietary restriction. So dinner, I'm going to kind of jump here. Dinner is easy, right? Because we've notated your allergies. Your servers are going to be with you the whole cruise. So after that first night, they're going to know your allergies. But if you're going to the main dining room for breakfast or lunch, like lunch on embarkation day, they're going to see when you tell them your stateroom number, because you walk into a main dining room, they ask you your stateroom number or your table number. They're going to see when they print the little ticket off that you have allergies, but you're going to have a new server. And the new server, it's not going to be your dinner server, most likely. So they're going to ask you to list your allergies. Mm-hmm. But in the main dining room, once you make that initial contact with your server, your dinner server, say you're on a 7-night cruise, that first night on embarkation, day 1, you make that contact, they see your allergies, they're like, okay, got this. And that night, you're going to get a menu for the following day, breakfast, lunch, dinner. And they're going to have you pre-order your meals for the following day. so that the chef is already prepared for allergy orders and can make those accommodations and get the provisions they need if they're in like a different part of the kitchen, etc. And everything's set up so that it's easier for them to bring your meals out with the rest of your family or like in a timely manner, right? So you're going to order subsequent days meals at dinner the night before. And like I said, they'll give you a menu. So say you want to have breakfast in Cabanas because the rest of your family wants Cabanas, that's fine. You just tell them what you want, and then they're going to send it to, they'll have it made in Cabanas in the allergy section. You're going to walk up to the Cabanas podium and say, I have an allergy order that I placed last night with my server. They're going to ask you your stateroom number, and then they'll deliver that. They'll ask you where you're seated, and they'll bring it to you when it's prepared. So it's a little bit of a different process because the only server that's going to know your allergies every time you sit down is the dinner server at the main dining room. So for instance, on the Fantasy, that's going to be Animator's Palette. That's going to be Enchanted Garden and Royal Palace or Royal Court, 1923 and Marvel and Frozen on the Wish. So those main dining rooms that you don't make reservations for, right? That is what I'm speaking about. If you want to order breakfast to the main dining room that's open for breakfast, you can do that. It's the same process. Same for lunch. You can order it to the main dining room or you can order it to Cabanas, and you'll just go and they'll ask your table number and they'll be able to retrieve that meal, but you order it the night before. So you kind of have to think about it. So when we're like waiting for our dessert to come out, we're looking on our phone at the next day's menus, like already prepared to kind of like jump the gun and not have to wait so long, because it does add about 10 minutes to your dinner that's already usually about an hour and a half long. So if you go in prepared, you're like, I don't need the menus, I already know what I want. Perfect.
And is it a situation where they're making all those dishes accommodated for the allergy, or are there allergy specific dishes?
So there are some restaurants, specifically on the Wish, I'm assuming the Treasure is going to be the same, where they do have an allergen menu, and this is kind of in the FAQs further on, they try their best to accommodate any of the requested meals. Like I know one of the meals that, like this is specifically in some of the dining rooms and at Palo, is there's like a ravioli that they can't accommodate. But a lot of them, they can mix and match. Even if, for instance, gluten-free it's not marked gluten-free on the menu, just say, hey, can you make this? And they'll say, yeah. If the server doesn't know, he'll go ask the chef. I know another one in Marvel is the bao buns. They can't make those gluten-free. And I go into this in the FAQ. If you don't know and you're like, oh, that really sounds good, just ask. Yeah. Just ask. They really want you to have a good experience, and they will try everything they can to make that dish allergen-free for you.
Yes.
They really do go above and beyond.
They do. They take such good care of you.
All right. So ordering on the pool deck and at the buffet. So as I mentioned, if you want to eat in the buffet, you can pre-order the night before. And in Cabanas, there is an allergy podium. And Cabanas specifically, I haven't been on the Wish since they put this into effect, because this allergy podium in the buffet is new. But I can tell you on Cabanas, you're going up on the Fantasy and Dream, deck 11, aft. You come out those elevators and you can go into Cabanas either way. There's a podium when you enter right there that there's a head server at that wears like a white polo and blue pants, and they're there to retrieve allergy orders. It used to just be that they were like walking around, but now they have like a designated spot, which is so nice. Yeah. So that, again, that's if you're going in through the aft entrance, not if you're coming in from the pool deck entrance. And they can retrieve those meals. You can go up and order an allergy menu from the podium, like in the moment, but just be prepared for a wait. It's not like you're just going to walk up and it's going to be fast like a buffet. Not happening. Same with the pool deck. So you're going to go up to the pool deck, like let's just say, Mickey's barbecue, like on the Wish, the Festival of Foods. You're going to tell them, like, I need an allergy order. They're going to call for a head server. Again, the head servers are typically in a white polo with a Disney Cruise Line logo and blue pants. And they're going to come. They're going to ask you your name and stateroom number and your allergies, and they're going to place your order. They're going to ask you where you're sitting on the pool deck so that when that allergy order is prepared, they can bring it to you. But again, there is some weight with this. Something that just off the top of my head is something that we typically get on the pool deck that's has gluten would be like a burger, and they can do a gluten-free bun, or gluten-free chicken nuggets, chicken tenders, or also fries that are in a separate fryer. And it does, because, you know, those are quick service where you just walk up and get your food from the cast crew behind the counter. So because they have to prepare the allergy food in a different area, it does take a little bit longer. So I recommend going, like, if your family normally eats at noon, go at 11:30 and place that order. And then let your family walk up and get their food at noon. Okay. So just be prepared for it to take a little bit longer, because one, they're trying to accommodate the need, and, you know, it's probably a busy time.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's no shortage of people on deck or in the buffet during lunchtime, especially. And the food is so good. So giving them that opportunity, and I think knowing that they're making it specifically for you, it helps get rid of a little of that stress too. It's not just something they're like dumping out of a packet onto a plate for you.
Right. So room service and coffee. I know we had a question about room service. I think it might have been in the allergy group, but I've heard people saying that like room service doesn't do allergy orders, and that's not necessarily true. So the allergy options are limited, of course, but you can still call down, tell them your allergen, and see what they have that is allergen free for you. And I've had it where they've asked the chef that's like down there and wherever they prepare room service. But another thing to note is the allergy kitchen does typically close around 9 p.m. So if you're like me and you want those like midnight chicken strips, you got to call and pre-order those before the allergy kitchen closes, so they know they have to do an allergy order late. But you just call down from your stateroom phone and tell them like your allergen, your stateroom number, they'll ask your name and like what you want. So I know gluten-free chicken strips they can do, gluten-free like wings, salads, gluten-free grilled cheese and tomato soup I know they can do. And they'll do like cookies and milk, because one of my favorites is hot cookies and milk, but you have to do gluten-free cookies. So you can even ask them the brand of the gluten-free cookies that they're using, because they are from a box. It will tell you that. They'll tell you the brand of like the gluten-free chicken nuggets, or the Purdue brand currently. But all that can change, right? And then about the specialty coffee shops. So on the Wish Magic Dream and Wonder, they do have like a pastry case in there. Those are not gluten-free. Nothing's allergy friendly in there, because they're all in a shared case, right? But for coffee specifically, you just need to tell the server, like barista, what you can't have and see if they can accommodate. So, a big one for a coffee would be like dairy or nut. They do have lactose-free and soy and rice milk. And I know they have almond and coconut milk as well. However, when I was on the Dream in April, they did not have oat milk. So I know that was a question asked. As far as I know, oat milk is not currently offered on the ship. But again, this can vary by the ship. It can vary by the sailing, just depending on what provisions they can get. Yeah. But obviously, dairy and nut allergies would be a big one when you're considering coffee. So knowing that they do have dairy-free and nut-free milk alternatives available for the coffee. Just stay away from the pastries in the case if you're on those ships. So this is like Cove Cafe, Vista Cafe, the other ones on the Wish. I can't remember all their names because there's several. So just keep that in mind as well.
And somebody's asking, can I bring my own oat milk with me?
So if I would say it depends. We brought protein shakes on board. So they're like shelf stable, right? There are some different milks that are shelf stable. So I would say yes, but bring it in your carry-on. The worst they're going to do is throw it out, right? I wouldn't bring it if it needs to be refrigerated, because the fridges in the room are more like beverage coolers. So I personally don't think they're cold enough for milk. I have put like 2% milk in there for my daughter, but I don't know. It makes me a little weary. So if it's shelf stable until you open it, I would say yes, as long as it's in your carry-on, like people bringing water and pop on board. It's fruits, vegetables, and meats that are a no-no. It has to be like pre-packaged items, but we have brought in those like protein shakes that are shelf stable and had no issue.
Okay, good to know, and great advice on carrying those on, and about the fridge too, because that fridge, I wish we could control the temperature of it.
Yes. All right. So adult dining on board. Palo, Remy, Palo Steakhouse, and Enchante are fabulous with allergies. We get this question all the time. I know Rebecca can vouch for this. Is Palo or any of the others worth it if you have allergies? And 10 times over, yes, you guys, those restaurants are always worth it, especially when you have allergies. I would say even more so when you have allergies, because it's not only is it going to be the best meal that you've had on board, but they work even harder to accommodate what you want.
That's amazing. That just makes it even more amazing. They're already so good. So I love that.
Good. My husband, like I said, has celiac disease, and he eats like a king in Palo. And we do Palo brunch and dinner every cruise because it's so good. And Enchante, we just did Enchante in March. Fabulous. There were just a couple things they couldn't accommodate, but he was like, I don't care. Like, this food is so good.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I love it. And you have some pictures later on too, which I am so excited to hear more about, because my mouth was like watering just looking at them. Oh.
So ordering on the islands, and I am including Lighthouse Point in this because we're just not even a month away from opening.
I know.
All right. So allergy food for the island is, again, pre-ordered at your dinner the night before. They will actually bring you like the paper menu for cookies. And this, I'm positive it'll be the same process for Lighthouse Point. I just don't know where the pickup window is going to be, right? Because we haven't been there. But for Castaway, the pickup window is at Cookies Barbecue, or what you'll hear say called Cookies 1, because it's the first one. And if you're facing Cookies Barbecue, like you're looking at this sign in the picture, it's going to be on the left-hand side in the back. So you'll pass the like buffet line and you go behind it, and there's like a little server type window, and you'll just tell them your stateroom number and they'll get your allergy order. It's prepared on the ship in the allergy kitchen and then brought out like covered. So that's how it's handled. So everything is like stored separately. And then, like I said, Lighthouse Point, I'm sure it's going to be the same process of ordering the night before, just like everything else. It's just a matter of, if there's multiple dining, it's going to be the first one most likely. One thing to note is allergy meals cannot be picked up from Cookies 2 or Serenity Bay. You do have to go to Cookies 1. So if you're over at the adult beach, like you just need to take the tram back over. Or if you're in a cabana, you can call for your a golf cart, and they'll take you over to get your allergy meal from Serenity Bay. It cannot be taken over there. So that's just one thing to know.
I know we've been getting this question more and more of, can you take food from the dining room, from Cookies? Can you take it from there and eat it wherever you want to?
Yeah, you can.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, we definitely take our plates like back to the cabana.
Yeah, right. If I'm sitting that close to the ice cream machine, there's just no hope for the rest of my day. I will be planted by the ice cream machine at Cookies for the rest of it.
All right, so let's go over some FAQs. These are some questions that you guys have submitted, and then also some questions that we just get frequently in the group that I wanted to address. So we kind of talked about this earlier, about how do I let Disney Cruise Line know I have special dietary needs or restrictions? Again, I can call it in for you. Or you can notate it online if you have one of the top like 9 allergens. And then it's just so important to make sure on your first night that your servers do see your allergies listed, and they're going to ask you, and they're going to list them all off anyways. Question number 2, when do I need to submit this information to Disney Cruise Line? Again, we kind of covered this. You need to submit allergy requests 3 days before and special meals 5 to 10 weeks before, just depending on what your dietary need is. Will my food options be similar to the rest of my family? Yes. This one, yes. As I said before, they try so hard to accommodate. They want you to have a great vacation, and that includes food. Like, people remember food as a big part of their trips. So they want to do their absolute best to adapt any meal to to be allergen friendly. Of course, there's some things that they can't, but they can offer you an alternative.
Yes. And
Is
what
the
is
ice
that ice cream?
cream
Yes.
at ice cream gluten-free? It is gluten-free, but the cones are not. So you would need to either grab a like fountain cup from over by the soda machines, or pro tip, bring a box of gluten-free ice cream cones, even like a shaker of sprinkles. That's what we do. You can also request like gluten-free ice cream or dairy-free ice cream in the buffet or the specialty sweet shops like Vanellope's on the Dream, for like dairy allergies specifically, or and I know people like have different questions about allergens on the ice cream. You can ask the server like that's at the ice cream machine to see the carton. I've personally done this. Ask to look at the carton and see if your allergen is in there. I'd have to go back through my notes, but I do have notes somewhere about what brand that ice cream is for a specific allergy. I got a picture of it. I can't remember. And we emailed the manufacturer to ask about cross-contamination.
See, this is what you get when you get Hunter as your travel agent. She is thorough with her research. I love it.
If you have a specific question, always ask to see the box or the container. Like, I think this is another question or FAQ on here somewhere. I've asked to see syrup bottle. I've asked to see barbecue bottle because those are both common items where gluten is hidden in. So asking to see those, and then I have like a little scanner app on my phone where I can scan the label to see if it's safe or not. Or if you see it on a cruise and you know you're going back, contact that manufacturer, or I'll do it for you and just see if what their protocol is in the warehouse about cross-contamination, because that's super important, especially with celiac disease and anaphylactic reactions to other allergies.
Awesome. And a question about ice cream. Are there any non-dairy based ice creams?
So again, that's not in the soft serve. But you can go to the specialty shop, the buffet, or the dining room and ask for like a sorbet, and they do have dairy-free options. I also know that on Castaway, they brought us, I don't remember, I posted a picture of it. They brought us a whole like pint of a dairy-free ice cream. Is it like So Delicious or something?
Oh, that stuff is so delicious. Yes.
In the allergy
They
group.
have a chocolate one that is phenomenal. And I don't even have a dairy allergy, and it is up there as one of my favorites. It's so
like I
good.
have posted in the allergy group like the picture of the carton and the stuff for the soft serve, like the brand, and we can look at the different flavors and stuff as well.
And I know you keep mentioning the group. Yes. Do you want to do a little plug for the group and what it is that you talk about in there?
Yeah. So this is what they brought us on Castaway. This So Delicious vanilla bean dairy-free coconut milk ice cream.
Awesome.
But if you have a tree nut allergies and can't have coconut, like you just got to ask. You just, don't be afraid to ask. So I have a Disney Cruise Line allergy group on Facebook. I'm happy to send the link or include it on the slide so you can look for it later. But it's Disney Cruise Line Traveling with Allergies, Celiac, and Disabilities. So people ask questions about allergies on there. I cruise 5 to 6 times a year. So if I don't know it now, like I'll ask, I'll email guest services. I will ask on board. Like I've gotten people the brand name of all different kinds of things on the ship so that they can do their own research. And it's just like a good way for us, the Disney Cruise Line community that has allergies and disabilities to connect and talk about these things and kind of like bounce ideas off of each other. I've had like a group going to Europe in June, and we've posted about like different restaurant recommendations in Barcelona and Rome and Greece and like all those different kinds of things. Like it's not just about on board. It can be about the ports too, because eating when you're off the ship is important too, right? It's our own little allergy community for Disney Cruise Line.
I'm so glad you mentioned that too, because it's, if you're heading somewhere a day or two before, making sure that you're staying at a hotel that has accommodations, you and your family, you fly in, so some good places to eat that can be accommodating. You can put that research in for your client so that it's just seamless for them. I love
Yeah,
it.
I mean, we travel all over, so I have lots of different spots, especially from ports where Disney cruises start and or end, where I know like allergy safe places. And Europe is fantastic because they have a lot of like gluten-free dedicated where nothing in the restaurant is gluten-free, has gluten and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And there's different ways to look because there's like a governing body of gluten or allergy dedicated restaurants in Europe that we can like search restaurants under. So just knowing those things is really important when you have severe allergies because the last thing you want is to be sick on your cruise.
Absolutely not. Oh my gosh, yes. Don't cross that off your list when you're working with Hunter for sure.
All right. So will they accommodate my allergies for excursions? And unfortunately, the excursions are hosted by outside companies and you cannot take food off the ship that's not factory sealed. And these excursions, just most of them don't have the means to accommodate for allergies unless the food that they're serving is naturally, your allergen free, right? So some things that you can take off the ship or bring onto the ship to take off with you would be applesauce squeeze pouches, like the shelf-stable protein shakes, granola bars. Sometimes you can get, for somebody that may have like, I don't know, for kids, maybe if you don't even have an allergy, you can get Uncrustables from room service to take off, things like that, or gluten-free crackers, and they come in a box. You can take those off. So you can't take anything off unless it's factory sealed and packaged, and it cannot be a fruit, meat, or vegetable. So excursions can be tough when you have allergies.
Yeah. So again, working with Hunter to try and find one that works for you and your family. Hunter's got experience doing Disney excursions and non-Disney ones. So knowing which ones are going to work for, are you sailing with all adults, kids, accessibility needs, dietary restrictions? Maybe if you've got hungry little ones, maybe look at a shorter excursion versus a longer one so you can plan meals around it and she can help piece that puzzle together. And I know I've heard you talk about cross-contamination a couple of times. You mentioned it. So what are the precautions that they actually take for that on board?
So Disney Cruise Line does not have like a separate allergy kitchen, just to be forthcoming with that, but they have a separate allergy area where they have separate fryers, separate cooking devices and utensils that are all different from the main line of preparation. In 27 cruises, my family has never gotten sick or had any allergy scares. But when you're traveling anywhere outside of your own home where you know what's being used, cross-contamination is always a risk, right? You need to be mindful of that. There's risk at any restaurant, no matter where you are, if they're not dedicated allergen-free. But personally, I have always felt the safest with Disney Cruise Line.
Yes, and you've done a lot of traveling. Oh, and what about the Royal Court Tea? I didn't even think about that one. Olaf's Royal Picnic and other themed character interactions with food.
Yeah, so Royal Court Tea, Olaf's Royal Picnic, and even when they did the Woodies or like Friends and Breakfast for the Pixar cruises, and when they used to do like the Disney Junior character breakfast, they made accommodations for all of that. The guests will get their own plate for any of these events with allergen-free foods. So that's really nice. Like if, my husband went with us to the Royal Court Tea and Olaf's Royal Picnic, and he got a separate plate of like little sandwiches and little pastries or whatever that were gluten-free for the tea party and, Olaf's Picnic. So yes, they can accommodate for that.
I love that he went to those, by the way. That makes my heart so happy. I love it.
Can they accommodate allergies in the concierge lounge? Yes. They're absolutely fantastic about having options for anyone with a food allergy. They're going to ask you your allergens on the first day when you either go to the embarkation lunch or meet with them in the lounge if you don't go to the lunch. The serving team will keep your allergy options in the back. And when you walk in, just say like, hey, I just wanted to see like what you have for me, because they change out the options throughout the day for morning and lunch and, dinner and dessert or whatever. So You just have to ask and they'll go grab what they have for you in the back.
Good to know.
Does Disney Cruise Line have gluten-free beer? Yes, they do. They carry Dora, whatever. They carry that, and it's actually a gluten-removed beer. So if you're nervous about that, just keep that in mind. My husband's had it, and he has not had any reaction. So they use a special, I don't know, chemical, I'd assume. They use something to remove the gluten out once they make the beer with the yeast. I don't know how it works. I just know that's what it's considered. It's not considered gluten-free. It's considered gluten removed.
Good to know. And do you guys typically bring, I know Disney allows you to carry on a certain amount of alcohol. So would you maybe recommend carrying on some gluten-free beer that someone might like if that's what they want to drink?
Yeah, you totally can. So each adult over the age of 21 can either bring a 6-pack of beer or 2 bottles of wine per adult. So I can bring 2 bottles of wine and my husband can bring a 6-pack of gluten-free beer. Definitely an option. You have to carry it on. It cannot go in your luggage. It needs to be in your carry-on. So you have to kind of lug it around until your room's ready at 1:30.
Yeah, good point.
Can I bring food to eat on the ship from home? We kind of covered this, but yes, as long as it's not a fruit, meat, or a vegetable and it's factory sealed. So again, the examples would be like granola bars, fruit snacks, applesauce, protein shakes, any other little snack that you might have that's factory sealed.
Yes. Definitely no shortage of food, but if having something like that is important, they've got options for you.
Can I ask to see food labels and ask the brands of foods? Yes, and I encourage you to do so if you are weary. I've done this, like I said, for the soft serve ice cream, syrups, barbecue sauce, the brand of the chicken tenders, because sometimes they have a gluten-free chicken tender, but it's cross-contaminated with nuts. Some of them, my son can't have it. So you have to, I just asked the brand, and I know that Purdue, the brand that they're using currently, or they were in April, it's the same brand that they use in the parks also for gluten-free. That one's safe. So that's just something to keep in mind. Can I go to the restaurant without pre-ordering? Yes, you can. As we mentioned, going to Cabanas or breakfast or lunch in the main dining room without pre-ordering your allergy-friendly meal. You can. Just be patient because it may take some extra time to prepare as they didn't know they were going to have this allergy order, right? How do they accommodate food allergies in the youth clubs? So food is no longer served in the youth clubs. This ended when sailing resumed after COVID. The one exception would be the nursery. You can send some snacks, my best friend sent puffs or something like that, or some chicken and biscuit crackers or something with her son when he was little. So just making sure that they know that your kid has an allergy in case, another kid has snacks. So the nursery, yes, but 3 and up in those kids club, there's no food.
Good to know.
Is the ship equipped to deal with a severe allergic reaction since a medical center only has set hours? That's a really good question. So if you didn't know, the medical center, the health clinic on board does only have set hours. And I want to say it's usually 10 to 4. Very short hours, and even shorter on Castaway Day. Just because it only has the set clinic hours doesn't mean that the team is not around to help you if there was an emergency or even an urgent matter, right? All they have to do is guest services or security just calls whoever is, the healthcare person on call, and they can be there to help you if it's urgent, right? Otherwise, if it's not urgent, they're going to ask what's going on. If it's not urgent, they're going to say, come tomorrow at 9 a.m. when we open or something. But they are set up. They have a little ICU. And if you were to take a turn for the worse, they would call in for the Coast Guard to do an extraction, or they would turn around and go to the nearest port and take you off to take you to the hospital, right? So they are prepared. There's usually 2 to 3 doctors and 2 to 3 nurses on the ship at any given time, just in case there's multiple emergencies. Or we had somebody that we knew got airlifted off the ship, and the doctor actually went with her. So they do have multiple people on board if anything were to happen, even if it's after the health center's hours. And just another thing for the health center, because I don't think a lot of people know this, if you're feeling motion sick, maybe you know, you already went through the medicine you brought, or maybe you didn't bring any because you've never experienced motion sickness, there's a box outside the health center. Like, it doesn't need to be open. And they have like the little individual packets of Dramamine, and you can go down and get motion sickness medicine and just like take it. So I always like to mention that because a lot of people don't know that's there. So don't.
I didn't know that was there.
Silence. Yeah.
That's all. I learned something new.
And,
That's
and it doesn't have to
awesome.
be open. Like, it's literally in like a plastic box outside their door.
Wow. I love every time we talk, I learn something new. That's awesome. That is so awesome. Oh my gosh.
Well, I have
Forget
two
that
sides
being
for
awesome. This
some
looks
pictures. I love food and I love Disney, obviously.
Mhm.
So the top left is the pasta bolognese from Animator's Palette that's gluten-free. Then you've got some gluten-free donuts, and my husband will get those like every morning. And you can actually get them from room service. He said they're really good. Then you've got some gluten-free bread from Palo. This gluten-free, oh my gosh, butternut squash gnocchi from 1923 on the Wish is, I don't even have celiac disease and I ordered it. It's so good.
Ooh.
This is like some sort of chocolate raspberry dessert from Palo. It's really good too. It's also gluten-free. Gluten-free tomato soup from Animators. Gluten-free French toast and hash browns and bacon from any breakfast. A beef tenderloin, so good.
Somebody's asking, you can order non-allergy if you don't have the allergy.
Yeah, if you need like a special dietary restriction, like you know, low carb or whatever, you can. Yeah,
Okay.
no artificial sweeteners. You can tell them that as well. Yep.
Beautiful. Oh my
A
goodness.
gluten-free creme brulee. I know Rebecca loves that. I am not a creme brulee person, and she's always like, I don't know why you don't like it.
Okay, more for me, more for me.
The next one, I want to say that is the gluten-free chicken parm from Palo, but I can't really tell from that picture. They made gluten-free pot stickers
Oh,
at Marvel. Yeah,
that's
so good.
awesome.
A gluten-free
That looks like a
panna
panna
cotta
cotta. Yeah.
with raspberry sorbet. You can always get that raspberry sorbet if you have a dairy allergy or gluten allergy. Like, every dining room cabanas has that raspberry sorbet. The next one is gluten-free beef Wellington, I think, or I don't know. Gluten-free chocolate souffle. Yes, Palo will make the chocolate souffle gluten-free.
Amazing.
Some other gluten-free, like chocolate dessert from Palo, and then a chocolate mousse that's gluten-free that you can get in the main dining room. I don't remember which one though. Actually, I think that chocolate mousse one, or the second one in, is also from main dining room. I don't think that's from Palo. I
was gonna say that. Yeah, that looks like the opera label.
Yes,
so that would be
it
from. Yes. Oh my gosh, I love it.
So wrapping it up, as you can see, Disney Cruise Line makes allergies super easy. They make cruising with allergies way easier than any other cruise line that I've experienced in my personal experience. So it's easier than you think when you're equipped with the right information, the right tools, the right resources, and the right people on your side. Hey, it's me. To make your sailing go smooth and seamless. So if you would like to work with me, if you'd like my help, again, we will post this link. We will leave my contact information. You can join our allergy group on Facebook. And let's connect.
Oh my gosh, yes. And we do, Hunter, if you have time, we do have a couple of questions that came in.
Let's do it.
So somebody was asking, they're worried about an allergy with sitting with other people at the same table. Can I request a private table with an allergy?
Yes, absolutely. And I highly recommend doing that, especially if you have like a severe allergy that's not just like contact, right? Definitely do that. And if you get there and you don't have your own table, tell them why. They need to accommodate that because that's a health concern.
Yes, absolutely. And I know some people can be hesitant about sitting with other people, and totally get this one. We've had lots of fun, but if there is a health concern, it has to be top of mind.
Usually the people that are sitting, like get stuck at a combined table, are the people that have fewer than 4 in their traveling party. I'm just going to be honest. Like,
yes.
My son and I traveled, just the two of us, in April, and we got, I don't want to say stuck because it wasn't like stuck, like it wasn't bad, but we were sitting with two other parties of two to make 6 of us total. But when I looked around, like tons of parties of 4, or like even there was another party of 3 that I knew that were sitting at a table, like a 4 top. So just something to keep in mind, that typically your request is warranted if you're 3, 4 and above.
Yes.
It's tough when you're a party of 2 though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, even as a party of 4, we've got places with families before. We've made great friends that way. Other times, maybe it doesn't work out, but that's something that I would definitely talk through with Hunter as you guys are planning your cruise. And somebody's asking, do you pre-order in Palo and Remy as well, or do you order the night of?
You order when you're there. So it's easier for them because it's not a huge main dining room, right? They only have a certain amount of tables that's much lower to take care of. So they're going to bring you the menu, and you're going to order all of your courses aside from your dessert at once, taking into consideration your allergies. But it doesn't increase the weight. Like it's already a slower paced dining experience. Excuse me. They advertise that Palo's 2 hours and Enchante or Remy is 3 hours. You can say, like, I would like it sped up a little bit. Like, I don't want to sit here forever between courses, especially like if you're going on fireworks night or something like that, and they'll do their best. But just go in knowing it is a longer dining experience, but you are ordering at that time, and everything's made fresh to order anyways. It's not where they're producing all of the same items for everybody, right? For the whole ship in a main dining room.
Yeah, such a good point. And somebody saying, I sailed on the Wish, I'm sailing on the Fantasy next. Do I have to ask for the brands on each ship every time, or are they the same across ships?
They are not the same across the ships. Some of them may be the same, but not always. For instance, I've had different chicken tenders in the Purdue. Like, just, it really depends on what provisions they can get on the ship. Like what, especially those frozen things like chicken tenders that are gluten-free. What other things? Like the boxed cookies that you can order from room service for, cookies and milk in the evening, things like that. To my knowledge, the soft serve ice cream is always the same brand, the same size carton. So, like the information when I contacted the manufacturer, like it's always that same thing. But the chicken tenders, I do know for a fact, have changed over the years, and even, over the course of a couple of months, depending on what ship you're on. So if that's something that you're worried about, that's something I would definitely check on. I always ask to see the barbecue sauce.
Got it. Okay, good to know. And someone was like, do you feel comfortable sailing with your kids on board with allergies? I know the answer for you is yes, but how do you kind of talk through that with your clients?
So I think it would be a bigger concern if you have like teens and tweens are going to be maybe eating on their own. But yes, I feel safe. And I think if your child knows their allergy, maybe set the parameters, even if they're teens and tweens, that they don't eat on the ship unless you are present. But if you're there to communicate for them and, talk through this allergy with them, I don't see any reason that there's not safe if you're there to do the talking with them. Now, if they have a severe like anaphylactic allergy and they're walking up to the quick service, pool deck food to order on their own, like that's a problem. Like they shouldn't be doing that. But that's something as their parent that you need to have that discussion with them, because you ultimately are the one that needs to keep them safe. And if they're not telling them, then Disney Cruise Line can't keep them safe, right? But I do feel that it's safe as long as those parameters and those discussions have been talked about. Of course, if you have a severe allergy, bring your EpiPen. If you forget it, like the medical center has those drugs. Those are normal medicines, epinephrine that the medical center is going to carry. So I say yes, but it's your decision, right? And I want to put this out there also, that if you don't speak English, English is not your native language, like maybe you speak Spanish or German, whatever, I would highly consider getting an allergy card that specifically states your allergy. We did this for my family going to Europe. They have like numerous allergies. They're stopping in Spain and Italy and Greece. So we got them allergy cards for each allergy for each country.
Got it.
Like if you're coming from another country, coming to the US and like you want to be protected, I would get it in English because somebody on board is going to be, most of them can read that in English, right? Or, at least the head server or somebody will be able to. So that's just something to consider. Let me pull up. There's a good website for it. Equal Eats. It's called Equal
Eats.
And you can put your own allergies in there. And they do like translations. You can also buy one with multiple allergens on one card. So that's super nice when traveling abroad too for, us that don't speak anything other than English.
Yes. Oh, that's such a good pro tip. And if you're worried about sailing with teens, tweens, or just kids in general, Hunter, as a mom of a tween herself, she gets it and she knows how to have those conversations, so she can help you through that too. And then we've got that question: do you know if they're able to fry in non-vegetable oil?
I don't know that question. you would have to specifically ask because they do have separate fryers. But I don't know what oil they use because it doesn't pertain to my allergy. That's a question I'd have to ask and report back. If you join the allergy group and post that, I will be sure it's on my list. I'm on the Wonder next week going to Alaska.
So exciting.
And I can definitely ask on that ship. So make sure you join the allergy group, post it in there, and I'll 100% get back to you and ask that question when I'm on board next week.
Yes, and we will get this video. It's always going to be up on the DCL community YouTube page. It'll also be in the Facebook group and on the DCL community Facebook page. So we'll get this presentation added there, as well as the link to the group that Hunter's been talking about, so you can ask that question. And of course, if you guys want to start planning your Disney cruise, reach out to Hunter. That's the link to her page on the DCL community site up on screen. Like we said earlier, her planning services are 100% free for you to use. So let her be that resource to take some of the pressure and the stress of not only planning a vacation, but planning it with these additional concerns involved off your shoulders so that you're not having to worry about it. She, as you can tell, has got you covered. So Hunter, thank you so much for your time and all of your knowledge today. And we will see all y'all on board real soon. Bye, guys.